Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L and hey, welcome! My Hero Academia, chapter 210. Dreams of One for All, I believe was the title. Hey, anyway, as you can tell, if you can't tell through the audio, we are back to normal, so now we can have a nice, good discussion where I will not forget things about the chapter. I know last week some people mentioned I forgot a little few details. My bad. I was a bit in a stressful situation, but I will go through the chapter properly this time after talking about it and make sure I don't miss anything. So it'll be a fun time. Also, there was someone asking if I was going to do Black Clover. I couldn't do it last week. I will have another chapter up this week. Anyway, going into the chapter for Hero Academia. Well, let's just start off by saying that we did get the glitch. The glitch happened, and I'm pretty happy about it. I'm pretty happy that I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in the last video, so I'm pretty happy about that. But there is a difference between saying there's going to be a glitch and then saying there's going to be a glitch with All for One's color scheme, the Black Lightning. Yeah, that, I was just expecting it to just go kind of out of control and fritz out and break stuff. I mean, it does do that, but there's a different sense of aesthetics with it, and it looks kind of more villainous. So that's, you kind of gotta like, it's different. It's different. But that is one of the big points that I really want to talk about, because really, with this chapter, we pretty much get what we've been getting for the other chapters, which is really good. We get quirk expositions, when a few of them were kind of like what we expected. Like Poltergeist was definitely what we expected it to be. Poltergeist refers to phenomena that causes objects to be moved. So we got to see that, and I did love the combos that they were doing. Twin Impact was always one of the ones that I really couldn't understand what it referred to, but here what we got was also very good. So, we're going to talk about that standard chapter, but let's just first go into the theory crafting for that final page of Izuku going on the fritz. Now, that page is set up with everyone looking at the situation and getting kind of freaked out. So I do wonder if things are going to be stopped. But just looking at that final page of Izuku here, I'm going to put it up. Hopefully the Shonen Jump won't notice it. But yeah, we have this, well, outpouring of energy, and it's honestly, I've never felt this doubtful about Izuku's parentage as I do now. And it's just because it's hard to understand where this black thing is coming from, where this black color scheme is coming from. And I really want to know. The one thing I've always hated with this series is that we don't know if people can see the lightning. Can people see the sparks when Izuku activates it? The author has never addressed it, so we have to assume they can't, right? But here we have this situation, and it's like, can they see this? Can they see these black sparks coming out of Izuku? Because, they have to be able to say like, oh my god, that's terrifying. Or is this something that only we, the readers, can see? Regardless, one thing that we know for sure, if you look at it, is that Izuku's reinforced braces on his arm have been destroyed. They're out of there. They're hasta la vista. And this is actually really, really good, because this is referring back to something that we've seen in front of us the whole time when it came to One for All. And it's always been something that I've thought about, but unfortunately I never put it down in video, so I don't have any kind of record of it. But way back when, in the first not the first episode, the first time that Izuku ever used One for All, his shirt was destroyed when he punched that thing. But when you looked at that scene, especially in the anime, it's a little bit easier. It looked like the shirt itself was being destroyed just by Izuku flexing, which doesn't make logical sense as to why it would be destroyed like that. It implied that there was some kind of extra force that was going around, that was activating around Izuku's body. And then when you have the sparks from Full Cowl and you could see them, you could imagine that this extra force was effectively those sparks. The point is, assuming my memory is correct and that I'm remembering this correctly, and it wasn't just air force from him pulling back his arm in general, from the very get-go it would have implied that there was extra power going around Izuku. And now when you're seeing this thing, without a doubt you can say that whatever this black lightning is supposed to represent just destroyed reinforced material. And then the logical conclusion after that would be that this black lightning has enough force behind it, that it must have some kind of mass, it must have some kind of acceleration to be able to produce a force that could break apart material. In other words, it means that this Black Lightning is a component of the One for All quirk that can be used to damage stuff. Izuku could legitimately have, well, you know, some kind of long distance ability that isn't air pressure, is what I'm thinking ultimately with this. But yeah, it being All for One's color scheme is really concerning, because why would it be? Aside from the quirks being related, like, even the blackness could just be like an indication that it's harder lightning. You know, like, think about like One Piece hockey, something like that. It's kind of like it's black because it symbolizes that it has power behind it. But it's honestly really concerning, and I hope it doesn't end in the revelation that All for One is Izuku's father. I hope that's not where we're going, because I'm a strong proponent against that. But it is interesting. And another thing that I'm just really wondering is All for One's brother evil like him? Are we missing a significant portion of this story where it was All for One's brother and All for One were in cahoots in their new world order, right? It's kind of concerning. So I would love to know what kind of theories you guys have about this whole little scene here. It's really interesting, and the editor is saying that this has become an emergency, so I'm wondering if they're going to stop the fight for this. Yeah, this is weird, man. It looks so gross too. Ew. Before going back and talking about the rest of the chapter, there was one more bit which I want to talk about now, and it's revolving around Nana, and it's specifically her interaction with the dream. Now, the way the author's positioning it, he makes it sound like it's a really big deal, but I don't find it to be that much big of a deal, because I've already kind of bought into the thing, where he says specifically the dream had the one for all voice saying that it wasn't time yet, which we know is different from Izuku's dream, who is saying that, oh yeah, we're past the point of singularity now. And I look at that and it's just, it makes me feel even more confident in the idea that All Might isn't going to appear in Izuku until All Might dies. Because at this point, you can now say that this isn't just a recorded message. It's not just an imprint that was left there, like a static imprint. This is an imprint that's able to change with the environment or with the stimuli, right? So, mind you, that's not, you could still argue, oh, it could just be a programmed imprint. You know, like if certain conditions are met, it will say a new line as opposed to a dynamic imprint. However, because All for One can feel that his little brother is somewhere out there, I have to imagine that no, those imprints in there are pretty much the record of what the person was at the time, and they are probably going to talk with their capacity if Izuku ever asked them. So like realistically, Izuku could go and ask them questions and they will be able to answer dynamically. It's just a big deal. It's a question of whether or not they can accrue knowledge after they have passed on, which I think would be fair to say that they can't, because that would be an easy way to limit that mechanic. Still, it's good to know that we have concrete proof that the imprints are changing what they're saying over time, or at least, you know, the first imprint. Okay, now we'll talk about the rest of the chapter in full. People mentioned I forgot about Giganto. That's a really good point. Anyway, this chapter opened up with Gran Torino giving us the information, but then we cut away from it, and then it comes back in when it's about to be important. Anyway, after that, the rest of the chapter just everyone kind of watching and noting that Izuku has to try harder than Bakugo did because his group is a little bit weaker. But that's whatever. After that, the next big moment is the Monoma moment where he's just messing with Izuku. I thought that was hilarious. Like, mind you, in that moment there was one part where I thought he went too far, and that was specifically the part with Bakugo causing the downfall of All Might. That was a nasty move, but it does make me think that yeah, Monoma probably copied Shinso since he doesn't have a limit on how many he can copy at once. Yeah, mind you, like the Monoma banter is just really interesting in general, right? He's really good at provoking people, and the only thing that I'm really concerned about besides the Bakugo thing is just that Shinso said that blessed people will destroy the world. That's kind of a really dark look on society, but I really hope it wasn't him. Anyway, Monoma did really well. I do hope he runs out of time though, because that's pretty much the weakness to his quirk. After that, we get just to see what the others were doing, and honestly, they had some pretty cool ideas there. You had Mineta using his grapes to figure out what was going on, or to just cause some kind of a trap line, and then we had Twin Impact tracking them, which I thought was also interesting because I was just wondering how does his gear work, because he has a lot of gear, but I guess he's specifically watching where the projectiles are going and then kind of activating his twin impact. I don't fully understand twin impact, so I think it's something I need to see a little bit more of. Like, I get it from the description that it causes that second blast from anything that had an impact later, but I just wonder what's like the area of effect. Actually, I'm reading it again and it says in any place where there is damage from an impact, he can trigger a second impact. That's kind of crazy. That seems like a really crazy power because it's an AoE type one, right? Anyway, the next big surprise is that size can be used on objects, not just a person. That was pretty cool. That was honestly pretty cool. Anyway, by that point, after we see all those quirks, we're pretty much at the end of the chapter. We haven't really seen much of what the 1A side can do because that's kind of how the chapter was structured. But given that everyone just got their descriptions of their quirks right now, honestly, it looks like Izuku's about to take over the show. I am totally looking forward to what this panel is going to lead into. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Let's leave it there. Till next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.